Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'll be painting this autumn scenery of the Liberty Bridge in Budapest. This is also my first time using acrylic gouache or Acryla Gouache. I'm using the Liquitex brand and they come in these squeezable bottles. I'll also leave a link for this in the description box. So starting with this painting, I'm just doing a little bit of the sketch. I'm using this reference off of Unsplash that I got, and I will link that in the description box as well. After I've done a little bit of the sketch, I'm just going to go in and mix some of my colors up. I actually changed around the color scheme from the original reference. I wanted the sky to be more of a colorful sky rather than the sort of white sky that is in the reference. So I decided to use a greenish blue shade that I thought would be a good contrast with the red sort of bright leaves. So for this I'm using a bit of the primary blue, some Viridian green, and some white. Starting at the top, I'm going to have it really bright, and then as I go towards the middle of the painting, I'm just going to add more and more white to that to have it be brighter towards the bottom, to show that the sun is sort of shining through at the bottom more so. Then I'm going to use the same sort of colors towards the bottom too for the water. It's just going to be a bit lighter for the water than it is for the sky. I also wanted to say that I am sorry for not being as active here on YouTube for a while now. I started focusing on my Etsy shop and Instagram more so, and then school also started, and then I got busy with that. But I am trying to get back into YouTube again. Hopefully I can film more and more tutorials moving forward and try to post at least 1 or 2 a month, but let's see where that goes. So now I'm going in the middle with some burnt sienna mixed with some white, just to add that sort of little buildings that you see in the reference photo towards the middle. And the buildings are quite faded out, so I want the sienna to blend in with the sky, so I'm going to add some more white and some primary blue to it to just have it be more blended in with the sky. I know that this footage is quite sped up. It's just that the whole thing was around like 3 hours and I really wanted it to be more concise, so I had to like speed it up a bit or it was just going to be way too long. Now I'm using some purple with a bit of primary blue and some black to have this muted sort of bluish purple color that I will be using for the bridge. I'm just going to use the same color to have all the details of the bridge, and this isn't going to be super like distinct yet because I'm still going to be working over it a little bit, adding highlights and darker parts later on. So this is just sort of the first layer of the bridge that I'm doing. I have to say that I really did enjoy using acrylic gouache. I would say more so than gouache actually, because I've always had a really hard time with layering when it comes to gouache. I always make one layer and then whenever I go over it with like a second layer, it always gets muddled up. So I thought this was so much more easier to layer with compared to regular gouache. Now I'm using various shades of muted purples and some burnt sienna to make little building structures towards that line across the page. And this doesn't really have to be too distinct or detailed, it's very much in the distance. I'm also adding some more detail to the bridge now. I'm going to make some parts much more darker using the same color and like some black in it. And also going to add some highlights to different areas to show that the light is sort of shining on certain parts of the bridge and just to make it look more three-dimensional. I'm also starting to add some details to the water because it looks really flat right now, and I'm just going to try to add more details to it so it looks a bit more like water. Here I'm adding more shadows to the bridge using some black and a bit of white. And then using the same mixture, I'm going to add some burnt sienna into it. And I'm going to start at the top with my branches. For this, I'm using a liner brush. I think this is the best sort of brush to use for small details, especially if you have to make thin lines. But if you don't have this sort of brush, you can also use any smaller round brush. That would work as well. Then for the foliage at the bottom, I'm using the same shade of burnt sienna and just going over that bottom part with a very watered down layer. With this second layer of the foliage, I'm going to have more paint so it's more opaque, and I'm going to use a smaller brush here as well to add certain details to give an effect of leaves. Now I'm going to be using some primary red with a little bit of white for the red leaves at the bottom. I'm also going to add some leaves to that black part of the foliage. It just looks kind of empty, so I'm going to go in with some yellow, orange, and red leaves, as well as green leaves, just to show more depth. I'm also adding lighter shades of the red leaves just so that you can see that the sun is sort of shining on them and there's a bit of highlights going on. For the leaves on the branches on the top, I'm using sort of the same color I did in the bottom with the primary red, but I'm going to add more of the scarlet sort of orange color to the leaves as well, and they're also going to be a bit lighter than the foliage on the bottom. I was looking through my reference and I remember that the water has a reflection for the sun, so I decided to add that in using some white and a little bit of yellow. Also, for the leaves on the top, I'm going to add various shades of this color. I'm going to add some darker shades and some lighter ones. I'm also using some dark black with some burnt sienna to add a few branches here and there at the top and also at the bottom in the foliage, just to show that, like, just to create more depth and have those branches sort of poking out here and there in the foliage so it looks more realistic. And now I'm just going to take my tape off. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you do have any suggestions for future videos, or if you would like me to try any other mediums more so, then do let me know in the comments. That would really help me for ideas for future videos. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.